Hey everyone, me Kevin here. We've got a lot to talk about regarding Bitcoin today. This is incredible. A potential Bitcoin city, Bitcoin bonds, new trends and patterns that we're seeing in the Bitcoin charts. Whew, we have a lot to talk about. Let's get right into it. Right after I mentioned that, hey, if you join the Stocks and Psychology of Money course, remember that you also get my notifications for when I buy or sell crypto, just so you can kind of see what my strategies are, where my head is with crypto at any given point in time. Check that out. Use that Black Friday code link down below, and consider bundling up with all the other programs on building your wealth as well, from real estate or property management, making YouTube videos, being a real estate agent. Lots of great programs. Check them out. Link down below. Okay, folks, let's get into the news. So the El Salvadorian president has declared that they want to create a Bitcoin city, but they don't really have money to create a Bitcoin city, so they are going to write you an IOU for $1.4 billion, which it's worth noting that the El Salvadorian GDP sits at about $24 billion per year. That's billion, not trillion. Okay, the United States economy is like 27 trillion per year. Florida alone has a $1.1 trillion GDP, so $24 billion of an economic size is literally 1/44 of Florida. So just take Florida and divide it into like 44 slices, and then you have El Salvador with one of those slices. And $1.4 billion of money that this country is trying to raise is about 6% of their GDP to create a new city. So they're going to try to raise 6% of their GDP to create a new city. And when they raise this 6%, they're going to write you an IOU if you want to be an investor in this. So here's how that works. They basically write down on a piece of paper, all right, I owe you $1.4 billion, and they would give this to somebody in return for $1.4 billion. Now, probably not just one person is going to do that. Instead, we're going to take this little scissor here, and we're just going to, slice off a little slivery-roo. There you go. Now you have a bond. This is a bond raise. This is a bond, right? This could be, let's say, $10,000. And so let's say you bought this. So you paid El Salvador $10,000 towards their project. You got this little piece of paper in return. This little piece of paper represents a promise of money in the future. Unless, of course, they go bankrupt and then the promise is worthless, right? And what El Salvador is going to do with your $10,000 in that case is they're going to take half of it, or $5,000, and put it into Bitcoin. The other half they're going to have denominated in US dollars, and they're going to build infrastructure in a new city that they're going to create. This city is going to be built near a volcano, of course, so that they can use geothermal power to power it in a clean way. And the city will have no capital gains tax, no income tax, and no property tax. In fact, the president says, come here and make as much money as you can. The only tax you'll pay are sales tax, because they expect this to be a tourist destination, sort of an experiment to try to build capital in El Salvador. Now, this works out brilliantly. If Bitcoin does what it did the last time the El Salvadorian president did something, on the new frontier. I don't want to say radical because that implies bad. Where he essentially issued roughly the equivalent of $30 worth of stimulus to every citizen via a Bitcoin wallet in Bitcoin. If you had hodled that, you'd probably be up about double right now. You'd probably have about $60 of stimulus. If that were to happen again, and let's say they put 5,000 in Bitcoin and 5,000 into USD to fund their city, and then Bitcoin doubled, they could essentially give back their entire IOU, and boom, they would literally pay for a city with Bitcoin. Which then I can only imagine the president of El Salvador making a video, perfect clickbait, the $0 city. Thanks, Bitcoin. It's great. Anyway, so that gives you a little bit of insight into the Bitcoin city, Bitcoin-denominated bonds, how that might essentially work. Very fascinating. It'll be an interesting experiment to see how it goes. Most countries seeing Bitcoin, obviously, as substantially volatile and potentially not investment grade because of that. And, of course, I would say anybody watching this video would just roll their eyes at that and, forget the fiat people. They don't know. But anyway, Bitcoin, in terms of liquidations, we have not seen as many liquidations here in the last 3 days here as we had seen on the 10th and the 15th, I believe. Let's see, yeah, we've got the 10th here where we had longs of about 456 million, 351 on the 15th, and 277 on the 16th. So we had some liquidations here in Bitcoin helping us get our Bitcoin pricing down from about 68,000 to about 64,000, and then another set of liquidations bringing us from about 65,000 down to about 60,000. Of course, since then, we did break below the 58,000 support level multiple times here. Let's go ahead and look at the chart here for a moment. We're sitting at the time of this recording at 58.2. It's worth noting, though, that I've added a line here. I've added the 56.6 line. Now, the reason I did that is on the hour candlestick, we hit 56.663 right here. We hit 56.826 right here. That's 2 hits today. We did overcorrect on the 18th to about 55.6, but we're not seeing a lot of confirmation at this level. So I'm seeing much more here again on the 18th, a hit at about 56,000, the middle of the 56 level. And so it's possible that this 56 level becomes sort of a temporary stopping ground before we get to potentially a 54,300, which I see as a little bit of a stronger support. We do have some historical precedent for a level at 56,000 as well, more so at 58,000, which is right here. But if we do go back to the beginning of October, we do get a few hits over here, right around that 56,300 level. So this is an argument here that 56,600 could be a smaller resistance level. More importantly to me, I think it's possible we're really going to channel between 60,000 and 56.6. Until we get some kind of moving catalyst, whether that's a negative catalyst or positive catalyst, something that's going to actually get us to break out. We either need to push over 60 and stay above 60 again so we can really see new highs, 70, 80, 90,000, especially if we're trying to get to 100K this year. I personally don't think 100K this year is realistic, but I do think that there is a potential for 100K sometime between now and the summer of next year, and I say that because I expect inflationary concerns to continue to be relatively wild. Oh, and I've been looking into that camera, and we're over here. Here, let me fix that. There we go. But anyway, it is possible that if we don't have any kind of larger positive catalyst or some new momentum flowing into BTC, it is possible that we could potentially see a little bit of either a channeling where we trade sideways, or potential bleed down to 54,000. Of course, if we do go down to 54,000, I think that could be a buy the dip opportunity. There aren't a lot of levels, though, between 54,000 and 47, which is a stronger support level, so there's always that risk of potentially buying at 54 and then dropping to 47 anyway. So we'll see what happens. Right now, I wouldn't be surprised if we end up trading sideways in sort of a channel, and that's because Bitcoin has historically done this. You get these substantial runs, you channel, you run, you channel, you look back, same thing here. You get runs, you end up channeling up, you channel down. Very, very common to see channels in Bitcoin, especially this year. So I wouldn't be shocked to see a little bit of a drawdown here, trade sideways channel, and then we'll either break up or break down. And so we'll definitely have to pay attention to see if we create or form any kind of wedge patterns to give us any kind of indicator as to which way we might go. Personally, I think it's a little bit too early to tell. So right now I'm in sort of the hurry up and wait mode where I'm just standing by waiting to see what happens. Keep in mind also the Bitcoin spot ETF, very unlikely to happen anytime soon unless we actually get congressional approval for the SEC to do something. I'm not very optimistic about waiting for Congress to do something about that. I mean, look at what Congress did with the Know Your Customer crap in the bipartisan infrastructure package. I think it's a complete disaster, and it won't be long before Congress realizes they're going to have to amend some of the silly regulations they've passed. And who knows, maybe then we'll see something for the Bitcoin spot ETF, because a Bitcoin futures ETF is risky, it's expensive. Of course, with these, if you don't understand backwardation or contango, do not buy a Bitcoin futures ETF. Stay away from the futures ETF. You're better off just holding the coin. Favorite spot, of course, to buy is a Coinbase Pro. It has much less of a lock-up grasp than you might see at some other platforms. Just for example, Voyager Digital, I'm excited about the yields, but boy, oh boy, if you want to transfer out, they limit you. they really limit you on transfers going out, and that's frustrated me a little bit lately here. But anyway, that gives you a little bit of an update here. If you found this helpful, consider sharing it. Consider checking out the programs on Building Your Wealth link down below with that Black Friday coupon code. And folks, we'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much. Goodbye.